I want to say some books don't deliver on the promise of their title, but in Dune, you talk about fucking sand dune. The first group that goes is the Vanir. The second group that goes is the Noldor. We are talking about Armada by Ernest Cline.
Why?
A hike through the goblin universe of Western Pennsylvania. Jeff the Killer, The Hunt for the Skinwalker.
No!
Science confronts the unexplained.
No! God!
Zach Bagans, Tom Bombadil, High King Ariendor.
Okay, you're just making up names now. Oh, God! I'm in hell!
Welcome to Nate's Nightmare November, Ben!
Words About Books. It's a podcast where Ben shows up half an hour late after we set a time to record. How's it going, Ben?
I was 20 minutes late.
It's 9:30.
And you have showed up later than this before.
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you.
Isn't it Nate's Nightmare November? Aren't we here to talk about you?
No, we're here to make things a nightmare for you. So I can show up late because that would annoy you, but you have to show up on time because it's not Ben's Nightmare November. That would be ridiculous.
I got a little Danish.
Didn't even go to Sheetz. Wow.
No, I went to a local deli.
Wow.
It's actually closer than Sheetz.
Wow.
But you haven't told me what we're talking about today, so I can't help you introduce this.
Yeah. Well, that was all the introduction we needed. I don't know when I'm releasing this, either Thanksgiving or Black Friday, Ben.
This is your Halloween? This
is my Halloween.
And you have to decide between, like, problematic but generally well-received holiday and the day where America just goes batshit insane for capitalism.
That was the election day, Ben. That already happened.
We have a couple of days.
Well, okay, that's fair.
We really like it. Buying stuff is fun.
So, for Nate's Nightmare November, Ben, I'm bringing to you Neva's Story by Austin McConnell. So
the listeners can't see my face.
Yeah, the listeners cannot see your face, Ben. You want to describe what's going through your head right now?
I'm actually a little angry because I think I told you. I think I told you not to do this. Like when we were talking about books that you could do, I was like, don't do Austin McConnell because, like, I genuinely don't like the guy. And to this day, I can't tell if it's because I actually get a weird vibe from him or I just don't, for whatever reason, he just doesn't work for me. I don't get him. So I legitimately can't tell with that guy. Do I not like him because he's bad or do I not like him because I don't get it?
It could be both.
But I don't like him.
That's some there's some genuine anger behind those.
Do you want to do a little about the author? Tell people who don't know who this guy is.
Yeah, obviously. Austin McConnell, who I was going to joke and say Austin James Tiberius Kirk McConnell, but I guess Austin's his middle name. His first name's Gregory.
You're so lucky. I have a second Danish.
He's got a YouTube channel, which, as he describes, is a channel that has no real focus, and people who subscribe to it and watch it don't know what what the focus is, but it seems to be. Guy tries a thing that he's not super great at, fails, then documents that failure, and moves on to the next thing. A lot of his YouTube videos are about him trying a thing that he is not good at, and then...
So this isn't the book This isn't the comic book where he bought a D-list superhero.
No.
This is the
And
one
created a cinematic universe.
Yeah.
He didn't buy it either because it was all public domain. No money required.
Right, and he used a bunch of AI art and an AI narrator, and he got yelled at, and then he tried to defend it.
Yes.
Okay.
No, this is a story that first his grandmother started writing when she was diagnosed with breast cancer in her final year of life. She passed away with about 2,000 words, it sounds like.
That's not
2,000 words written. That is not very much. Or no, sorry, maybe you said 6,000. No, I think it was 2,000.
still not a lot. If
It was basically nothing. Yeah.
you're in the 4 digits, you're not doing well.
It was basically nothing. I watched his YouTube video about this as well, where, surprise, surprise, this was a flop. And I'll explain why that's a flop. Very, very much just paraphrasing what he's saying, but his grandmother wrote it. Good for her. She died tragically.
Can you tell me, and the listeners, like, I'm aware of how this might sound, but like this is one of the things where I can't tell if I just don't get it or if I just don't like this guy. Because to me, my gut reaction to hearing that is my grandmother always wanted to write a book. People can't be mean to my dead grandmother. So I'll find a way to make this about me. I'll put out a book, and if you don't like the book, you're being mean to my dead grandmother.
Well,
who wrote less than
apparently-
1% of a book.
Exactly.
once. Yeah.
Exactly. I was gonna say the vast majority of this book is about him.
Obviously.
Or is written by him, obviously. So I guess his mom wanted him to finish the book, but he was a teen at the time, so she
I don't believe
kept
that.
it. And then his mom passed away, and then during an estate sale, God, I may be mixing my two stories because there was at least one estate sale that the manuscript was discovered. But there you go. He found it again and was like, "I'm gonna try
was
it."
discovered
In the attic, I hope.
the notebook where she scribbled down the
Kevin J.
idea for a
Anderson.
novel.
Kevin J. Anderson was there with him.
Okay, the manuscript was discovered. Please continue.
So apparently he was like, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna write this story. It's a romance story about a teenage girl in the 1940s, which he points out he is neither a teenager, a girl, or lived in the 1940s.
I mean, the main thing is you're not a writer.
That's not true. He is a multi-time failed writer, Ben.
Yeah, but see, like the
And
thing
this
is,
is coming
like,
from failed writers.
like John Green wrote *The Fault in Our Stars*, right?
Wow, was that him?
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
So it's possible if you're good at writing to write an experience that's not yours. You have to research it. It's tough to finish it on the timeline of a YouTube video.
He paid several.
You're setting me
$1,000
up to get
on-
eviscerated by this guy's millions of followers, right? That's what this is. That's why you're doing this.
He has a video where he's like, at the time I had 1.11 or 12 million subscribers. So if I could get just like 1% of that to buy this book, I'll make a little bit of change, a nice chunk of change.
I think we
I'll break
talked about
even
this,
and then some.
We talked about this. The statistic thing on the aliens episode, where the alien people like to make up just reams and reams and reams of pages and pages and pages of bullshit, and then say if even 1% of it is true, as if that's a low bar. That's a low bar to set. Like, probably more of this is true, but if even 1% of this was true, then that's huge. And yeah, if even 1% of a big number it is something, that's a lot of thing. But what is reason to think even 1% will do thing?
Well, he sold about 200 copies.
Yeah.
Because he realized, oh, okay, my demographics are...
Because he knows nothing about publishing, writing, and he didn't look into it. And that's the theme of every single one of his videos.
Yeah, that's accurate.
is he
The
doesn't know
demographics
shit
are
about
18 to
anything.
34-year-old males, and he's marketing a book for, I'm guessing, preteen girls?
Oh,
Question mark?
this is
I
your
can't
grand
even-
victory, isn't it, Nate?
I
I'm
can't-
you right now. You've finally done it. I don't
did it.
like him.
I did it.
I don't like him. I don't like anything he does. Oh God. I'm going to put this on YouTube and the algorithm's going to show it to Austin McConnell fans. And I'm going to have to deal with their stupid comments.
I hope it shows it to Austin McConnell.
God, I don't even care. Like, here's the thing, Nate. Because I think I told you why I didn't want you to do this. I think I told you it's because he was sick or something.
He was sick.
And I didn't want to be mean to him while he was having an actual medical problem. Like, I don't want to cause him. I think he has a heart condition. It's like, look, I don't want to contribute to somebody's stress while they have a heart condition. I don't like his work, but I don't.
And a stroke.
He had a
on top of this.
stroke?
Yeah, I
Wow,
think it was
okay.
a part of the surgery.
Yeah, so this is the thing,
I've been
Nate.
following
Like,
as
I
well
don't
as
want to be
probably
super
should.
mean to this guy, but you know I don't like anything he does. And I know he's not well, and I have sympathy for him as a human being. I don't think he's an evil person. I just don't like what he does. Now you've put me here. Okay, continue. So 200 people, they're all 34-year-old guys.
Yeah, I don't. He basically said that he lost money on this, but he'll probably just make it up with like the YouTube video about how it was a failure and then selling ads or whatever.
I don't care about his financials.
Yeah, there you go. Do you want me to do a brief summary? Because I could do a brief summary. This is a novella.
I just want everybody to know that we're probably going to lose money on this podcast, and we're not going to make it up on Patreon.
Unless Austin McConnell wants to donate.
Don't donate. Don't do that. Oh, I'm opening myself up. Nothing would make me more angry.
Neva's story, Ben.
Neva's story.
It's about a girl in the 1940s. Neva. She's got a mom and a dad, and also a sister who's about 10 years older than her, who hasn't been seen in a long time and ran away, Ben.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you the broad strokes. It's 10 chapters. It was a little less than 3 hours, I think, on Audible, or maybe less than 4 hours. One of those two. It was real short.
Doesn't sound like a full length novel.
It's a novella.
Okay.
Yeah. And
It's valid. Novellas are valid.
yeah. So she's trying to deal with like her feelings, Ben. She's exploring this brave new world of romance in the 1940s.
Okay.
She's going steady with a guy, Mark, who is very much a Mark, you know? Hardcore a Mark. And
You'll have to elaborate on that.
so you know how in a romance book where there's a love triangle, you got the bad boy. He's cool and oh my god, he's maybe a little bit dangerous, but he's so hot. He's bad boy. And then you've got the like bland, boring block of wood, like why do you even bother living? That's Mark.
Yeah,
He's a boring guy.
You've got the preppy, you've got the bad boy, you've got your Richie Cunningham and your Arthur Fonzarelli.
Yeah, this guy, I don't even know if he's if you'd call him a preppy. I'd call him boring. I'd call him the safe option, you know?
Okay.
He's known her since they were kids in Sunday school, because this is the 1940s.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
And
I've been to Sunday
they're
school.
going steady, and boy, do they say that phrase a lot. And it makes me cringe every time, Ben. I know that was a thing that people said. I remember when we were in, I guess they didn't call it home ec by the time I was there, but
Family Consumer Sciences.
yeah, hey, okay.
Yeah, I was there.
I didn't know if that was a thing that
I was there
everywhere.
for that transition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Family and Consumer Sciences, and they had a textbook that had to have been outdated because it talked about going steady. And I thought that was outdated even then. Anyway.
Yeah, I gotta say, I've never, I guess I've never experienced personally. I mean, I know people do, but like I've never dated multiple people at the same time. I guess you do that these days with like Tinder. Like you might go on a Tinder date and not expect like you're not in a relationship. Yeah, I never.
You're not going steady with that person, you know.
I don't know. I never really called.
Is that what
like,
it's used for?
Yeah. I think the
like
notion
you're
is
exclusive.
Yeah, you're exclusive. You're not going to go on a dates with anybody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was a thing.
No, well,
okay.
back then, like I think the dates were pretty chaste.
Well, yeah, because.
But I think at the same time, it's like you're also not like if you're hanging out around like a bunch of the opposite sex. Yeah, I think they didn't really do like a lot of like. If you went to like the ice cream parlor with your opposite sex friend,
oh my god!
I mean, you better be going steady. What?
Oh my god! Why would you even do that if you weren't?
You harlot.
You're just hanging it all out in public for everyone to see.
Yeah.
So she talks on the phone with Mark a lot at night, where she carries the majority of the conversation. He's maybe listening, maybe not, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just really tired." And you kind of get the feeling like, God, this guy not very good with relationships, and he's kind of boring and like, eh.
Yeah, I wonder where
she's kind of like, I don't. From. Yeah, and she's like, well, you didn't say that he loved me, and I don't know, like if he's gonna say that at the junior senior dance or whatever, like how am I gonna respond to that? I don't know how I'm gonna respond to that. Do I love him back? I don't know if I do. I've never been with anyone else before. I've never even kissed a boy except for one time back in the day. 1940s.
Yeah, but which 1940s? This is important.
I do not know if America is in
that
the war.
That doesn't come up?
Or
that doesn't
after
come
the
up.
war. That does not come up. I kind of got the vibe that this was like early 1940s before Pearl Harbor.
A man of draft age, or a boy, I should say, of near draft age.
Well, that is a good point. They never bring that up. No one talks about if the war is over. No one talks about if there's a war going on. Unless it was a throwaway line that I missed. But like I said, it was only like 3 hours long, and I was listening. Was listening very intently.
They're talking, like politically, they're talking about the draft at this point. If it's early 1940s, the war's been going on in Europe for a while. They're talking about America entering the war. They're talking about the draft. It's a big debate. And so this person would be, a lot of people back then are pretty unsure of their future. They just came out of the Great Depression. It's not quite even over. And now
he's unsure if he's going to go to college, Ben.
Yeah, I bet he is.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know. And I thought the same thing. And I was like, I don't know how important that is. But then I was like, no, that's super important.
That would have been, if you're writing about your grandmother's life, I think that would have been on her mind.
Well, this isn't we actually don't know if this is a real story or if this is just something that his grandmother wanted to write. He says that in the foreword.
Okay, but if your grandmother had written this, it would have been on her mind.
Yeah. You would think so.
My grandmother's 95 years old, still alive, still with it. I've mentioned it before. She remembers. It dominated. She was young at the time. Like I don't think she was quite old enough to... she met my grandfather in college after he got back from the war, and he was a bit older than her. But yeah, when I have spoken to my grandmother about her relationship, the war dominates. The war and the Great Depression. They do not
mention the war or the Great Depression at
the experience. All. Yeah. No, because my grandmother, if you watch her think back to now, and I understand Austin McConnell did not have did not have the chance to interview his grandmother. I can't blame him for that. But I have talked to my grandmother about it, and you could tell when her mind goes back to that time, she almost always says some version of the phrase, "I have seen a lot." Like, you can always tell, whenever she reflects on it, she's like,
it was a very
she notices the distance between where the world is now and where the world was then, and she was like, I've lived through a lot. And I don't understand the point of setting it at this time if you're not going to deal with anything about this time.
I also didn't understand, and it's going to go into the who is this for at the end. So yeah, so Mark kind of seems like like I don't know if I love him, I don't know if he loves me, I don't know. I'm an awkward teen. I don't know how to navigate that. I'm like, okay, I guess that's relatable.
Well, he's going to be dead in a field in France in a couple months, so you might as well say you love him just to give him the peace of mind, right?
Hey, now. He could also be dead at the bottom of the ocean in the Pacific. You never know.
Yeah, so you might as well just, tell him you love him.
So, yeah. Then she needs to get a dress. She needs to get a dress for that formal. And I am gonna. I'm summarizing this pretty quick because there's not.
You've covered a lot of ground so far, so that's.
So they go they go and get this dress. Oh yeah, Mark doesn't know what he's going to wear for the formal, and he doesn't seem like he's putting a lot of thought.
The fuck do you mean you don't know what you're going to wear to the formal? You're a guy. Suit.
Yeah, but what kind of tie is he going to wear? It has to match her dress or whatever. That's a thing, Ben. And he's like, well, I'll just get whatever you want. And she's like, no, you have you're not putting any thought into this. You what are we going to do? When are we going to go? Tie. Come on. So it's going to be purple, Ben. It's going to be purple.
That's fine.
That's your dress. So she
that's blue and red. That's the best of both worlds.
There you go.
Yep. That's a centrist tie.
There you go. There you go.
That's what America needs right now.
So she gets this dress, and they go shopping first at some thrift stores, and then they go to an actual store. They get the dress she wants, and her mom is like, okay, so just so you know, when you have a heart to heart, if you kiss Mark, I'll skin you alive. Yeah, because then you're gonna kiss Mark, and then you're gonna run off with him, and you're gonna disappear forever.
Oh, is that what happened
and you're
to her
gonna
sister?
Make shitty decisions. And that is yes. Okay, so Neva's like, I don't know why she's bringing this up, and then it's like, yeah, that's exactly what happened to her sister, but she was only 5 years old, and she can't put two and two together. So she never put that together that her sister ran off with someone. That's why they're estranged from the rest of the family, and she hasn't seen her sister in 10 years. So she's like, Jesus, Mom, okay. And Mom's acting real angry and distant and weird. She had an argument with her dad in the first chapter. I forgot to mention until now. And but she doesn't know what it's about. She's like, well, that's weird. And she's describing that to Mark on the phone, and Mark's like, oh, sorry, I was only barely paying attention because I'm a bad boyfriend. And yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine or whatever.
You said there's a love triangle?
Eventually. See, there's a border now. They've got a border.
What?
Which happens.
Oh, somebody's staying at their house.
Yeah, Hey Arnold,
Okay, I'm with you.
So it's this guy in his mid-20s who Mom doesn't seem to like, but will eventually warm up to as the book progresses.
This is actually Fonzie.
He's the bad boy. He's a cool guy.
This is actually Fonzie.
But he's also a gentleman. He's opening doors for Neva and
that's what Fonzie does.
Yeah, this is the 1940s, and I don't think the Fonz came around till the 50s, Ben. Probably because they didn't want to talk about the war.
The Fonz would have been alive, but he wouldn't have been 20. That is an interesting. I guess Fonzie would have been too young to go to war.
Yeah, because Fonz was, I think, a teenager. Or a young adult.
I bet he would have been thinking about it. So, this is the other thing, too. Have you ever talked to an older person who lived through these times? My dad was in high school while they were still drafting people to Vietnam. He did, the war ended, well, We lost before.
Hey
Uh,
now, it was
it was a retreat with honor.
retreat with honor.
Yeah.
Retreat with honor, Ben. Yeah, we're putting that. We'll put that in the tie column. All right.
Yeah, we'll call it a tie.
We'll call it a tie.
We'll call it a tie. Good game, Vietnam.
Yeah.
We all lined up and shook hands.
We won the war. We won the war, but like South Vietnam didn't. So like tie. That's the.
But I mean, again, like these anxieties dominate people's lives at this time
Okay,
because
but
it's
also,
like, where am I
what about
going
the
to be in
junior,
5
senior
years?
formal, Ben?
Is he a junior or a senior?
I do not know. I know she's a junior because she has another year of high school left. So I'm guessing she's like 16.
So that would be another thing that would dominate the relationship, right? He's like, if I have another year of high school left and you don't, how do we do this?
See, they mentioned that he was held back a year because of some injury or illness. I know he's older than her, but I don't know if he's a senior and going to graduate this year or not.
Okay, I think I've made my point. Go on.
So they have the formal, and they do their dance. He's kind of shit at dancing. He's like hesitant to get a photo, and they do a photo and it sucks, so they redo the photo, and then finally she starts having some fun with him, like, oh hey, this is actually fun, like I'm getting into this. Maybe you're not a shit boyfriend, even though the entire first half of the novella is like, you don't pay attention, you suck. So then he takes her home and he gives her a kiss goodnight that she consents to, and she's like, oh my god, I'm thinking about all these things about
We're
how
talking about the cheek, or
gonna-
are we talking lips?
lips, full on
Oh.
lip to lip contact, but nothing else.
Well, you're ruined for other men. You got to marry him now.
Yeah, so she goes inside and she starts thinking about, like, maybe I do love Mark. I don't know. Is the future? Who knows what's going to happen in the future? Maybe the war is over. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But like,
I think I'll write 2,000 words of a novel about this, and then I'll go get with Fonzie and not think about it again.
So then, I don't even remember the circumstances that lead up to this, but
Didn't you read this like yesterday?
yes, I don't remember why I just remember I was on my walk listening to it, and I just started yelling, why? Why did you do that? Why? Because out of nowhere, she's like, Mom, I don't know who else to tell this to. Because supposedly she has other friends. They're mentioned, but like never by name, so I don't know.
Her mom is her best friend.
Yeah, she's like, Mom, I don't know who else to tell this to, but I wanted to tell it to someone. I kissed Mark last night. And Mom gets like white hot angry, and she's like, why are you so mad? And I'm like, no shit, what did you expect would happen? She said she would skin you alive. Why? Why did you tell her? I do recall, so right before this, Mark is like, hey, Neva's dad, Mr. Garrison, I can drop Neva. I can take Neva to school if you want, or I can like pick her up and drop her off at home. That'll save you some time, and yada yada yada. And Neva's like mad because she's like, I can't believe you would just ask that without asking me first if I was okay with it. And Mark was like, yeah, I'm sorry, Neva, because he's got like a wuss voice in the audiobook, which I think fits. I think it fits. Mark is very much a Mark. Anyway, after she's like, you kissed a boy. Phone rings, and it's Mark. And Mark is like, hello, ma'am. I would like to formally request permission to pick your daughter up and drop her off after school. And she was like, Mark, fuck you. You kissed my daughter. I fucking hate you. Your relationship is over. She slams the phone down and tells Neva to go to her room. Bitch! I told you what would happen if you kissed him. She also, for some reason, she and Neva's dad do not like Mark. Other than the fact that he is a bland, stale piece of bread who doesn't pay attention to Neva's wants or needs, as was tradition at the time. I don't know why they hate him. It's never explained. I kind of thought there was going to be a reveal that, like, yeah, Mark accidentally got someone pregnant already, but no, nothing like that happens. They just don't like him. So Neva's like, oh my god, my future's over with Mark, even though I don't even know if I loved him or not. Like, that's a complex question I'm going to keep thinking about. And then uh, uh, she starts hanging out with the boarder, whose
Okay.
fucking name is escaping me. This is embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
I should remember his name. He's kind of important.
So you remember it's a love triangle. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we have a and we have b. So that would mean a squared minus b squared equals this guy's name. Well, can you call him c squared?
I cannot remember this guy's fucking name. God damn, this sucks. Trying to look it up, but like I don't think I'm gonna find the fucking name.
This book has 12 reviews on Goodreads.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think that's gonna happen. Well, we're just gonna call him the Boarder. C squared. He's C squared. God damn it. So yeah. They go on like a movie, first. Okay, so first of all, Nancy, her sister, shows up. Like, they were expecting her. They picked her up on the train. There's some tension there. She's gonna stay there. It's obvious to the reader that she knows the Boarder. They've met before. They have like a tense like, hey, how's it going? But like, okay, we're gonna move on now. And then Neva and the Boarder go to a movie, and the Boarder's like, your sister gonna be there? Because obviously that's who I'm interested in, because I'm a grown man in my mid-20s and you're 16, so it would be really weird if I were the love interest, and thank God that is not what ends up happening. And she was like, of course you'd be interested in Nancy. No shit, Nancy's a grown woman, Neva. It would be weird if he wasn't. He's taking you to the movie because he wants to get to know, spoiler alert, his family, because spoiler alert, he's your brother-in-law. He's married to Nancy. That's the reveal, Ben.
Oh.
Yeah. They go to a movie and they hang out, and Neva's like,
why is he boarding there, but
interested in
Nancy's
him?
not?
Because Nancy ran away from home, and he
Then
wants
she-
to try and reconcile things. And
Do
Neva
they know-
overhears a partial conversation between the Boarder and her father, and the Boarder's like, well, I want to court her. Like, I want to make things work. And Neva's like, oh my God, are they talking about me? No, obviously not. That would be weird if your dad were trying to pawn his 16-year-old daughter off on a mid-20s man. Maybe it's not weird in the 1940s, which goes to my other point that, like,
What about this? It makes it set in the 1940s. Like, how do you know it's the 40s?
They say they're going steady. They don't have smartphones.
Okay.
They don't talk about the war, so, you know.
Okay, so they don't talk about the war. Like, what other 1940s stuff do they do?
Even Christopher Moore talked about the war.
I imagine everybody at the time did all the time, but like, it's like if you wrote a novel set in 2019, you didn't talk about COVID. You didn't have to. I mean, we didn't all talk about COVID all the time, but like,
well, yeah, it was more 2020.
Yeah, okay, so 2020, like, you know, it's like
it
we're
would
in the
be
middle
weird if
we're in the middle of lockdown
doing, yeah, exactly. If everyone were just out behaving like normal, like we're all at the supermarket, no one's wearing a mask, no one's complaining about having to wear a mask. No one's like, wow, I got furloughed from my job. I don't know how I'm going to make ends meet. I'm living off of unemployment, which doesn't pay dick. This is shit. I hate it.
Can I ask you a question? Do you get the vibe? And this is part of what goes to my, like, this is why I don't like this guy's stuff, is because everything seems geared towards like how he's gonna, like, before he does a project, And while he's doing a project the whole time, he's just thinking about what he's going to say about the project
Yeah.
in the
I
video
mean,
he
his
makes.
his
about it.
YouTube videos are about how his project didn't go over well.
Right. So this is my
Those
thing.
are the thing that people tune in for.
Like while he's writing the book, he's not really, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm putting like a motive on him, and this is why I say I don't know how to feel about this dude, but I get the impression that the book is not the point. The video about making the book is the point. He's writing a book to have written a book so he can talk about having written a book. And I just don't understand why people are attracted to this.
I don't know, because I'm one of those people, Ben.
Because that's what I'm trying to ask
him
you.
less and less as time has gone on.
Because
actually.
like plenty of people write books and talk about writing books. Like you can watch really interesting, insightful talks like at universities and stuff with famous authors, not famous authors, authors of every potential demographic. Like you could watch a talk about a woman who lived in the 1940s who wrote romance stories about the 1940s. Yeah, I'm sure we could go find an interview with somebody if you wanted that experience. And I don't like I did Google this, right? So I was like looking at reviews, and there is a 2-sentence description of the book followed by a paragraph about Austin McConnell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just don't get it. This is why it pains me so much to talk about this dude. It's because I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I feel like I'm the only one in the world who can see what I'm seeing. I have no idea how this dude has millions of subscribers. I understand, like,
there's a review that says this is probably the coolest thing he's done, and it gave the book 3 stars.
I understand why people watch Logan Paul more than I understand this. Like, I don't like it. I would prefer you watch Austin McConnell. I think Austin McConnell is a far better person than Logan Paul. But I don't understand how this is entertaining.
Well, it's entertaining for me because I'm reading it
because it bothers me. Yeah. I get, and I understand that. That's a very Logan Paul-esque sentiment. But I don't. Okay, continue.
All right, so where are we? Okay, yeah, she tells her mom that the movie with the border was like a date, and her mom was like, "He's a grown man, and you're gonna go up to your room, and you're gonna fuck you, Neva." And Neva's like, "No, Mom, fuck you," and she runs away, and then overhears a conversation between her sister and the border, and that's when she's like, "Oh my god, they know each other." And then she overhears an argument between her parents, and her dad's like, "Neva, I can hear you. You're outside the room." Yeah. So those two are married. Your sister ran off thinking that she knew, like, we didn't like him, and she thought that she knew better. Do
you like anyone?
We tried. You
didn't like the square either.
Yeah, we gave an ultimatum, like, him or us, and she chose him, and it broke our hearts. And then we moved away, and she didn't come with us, and now we've been estranged for a while. And
so she didn't leave.
No, she did. She left, and then also they moved. Everyone left each other, Ben.
this land is cursed.
So then they're like, yeah, and then your sister was unfaithful to him, but he's trying to make it work now.
By what? Hanging out with her parents? That's fucking weird.
No, she slept with some other dudes. Ben.
No, but okay, so she sleeps with another dude, and then he's like, "I'm going to try to make this work by hanging out with your parents."
Yes, Ben. He reached out a few months ago, and something, we're going to get them back together, or whatever. They're going to talk things over, maybe.
This is insane.
And then she's like, "Oh my god, I threw away my relationship with Mark over this." By the way, she has a conversation with Mark on the phone, and she's talking about, like, "Oh yeah, I went to the movies with this guy," and he was like, jealous about it, and
Yeah, obviously.
and apparently maybe he's been paying attention to our conversations more than I thought, or whatever. And then the parents are like, you should go reconcile with Mark, I guess. You were a lot better girl than your sister was at her age. You make good decisions. We need to trust you because we don't want to push you away like we pushed away your sister. We made mistakes. We're bad parents. And so Mark comes up finally, like at the end of the thing, and they talk and they reconcile. And
Please
like,
do not tell me Austin McConnell's grandfather is Mark, because that would be really embarrassing.
No, I don't know how true this story is. He might be. We don't know, Ben.
What's
And
his
then-
grandmother's name? Is her name Neva?
No.
Okay, it's probably not about her.
So then he looks at her, Ben. And she looks at him. And he's like, oh my God, he's going to say it. And he's like, Neva,
Hello.
joining the military.
Did he say that? Did he really say that?
No.
Okay.
But can you imagine? The audiobook was pausing, and I was like, that would be so fucking funny if that's what he said to her, and the book just ended. No, instead he says, I love you, and then she's like, oh, I love you too, and then they kiss again.
Gross.
A polite peck upon the lips only. No more than 3 seconds in length, no tongue, no hand stuff, okay?
Boy, I tell you what, if you don't like tongue, you're really going to hate The Fourth Wing.
And I think, oh God, and I think that this is where the book probably should have ended, because it's like, I don't know if like Mark is the one or whatever. Like, I've only dated one person. How do I know? And it's supposed to be supposedly
I think the book should
about
have
like
ended 2,000 words in where it did end.
Yeah, that's fair. But apparently, it's supposed to be about like an adolescent girl exploring like what is romance and love and whatever in this world. And it's like, okay, some ambiguity at the end, that's fine. Chapter 10. And I'm like, no. Several years later, she has her wedding dress, and I'm like, no. And her mom's picking it out, and she's getting married to Mark, Ben. They had one relationship ever between the two of them. They have each had one relationship, and
That's
now
how they
they're
did it
getting
back
married.
then.
And then they get married around the same age as her sister did. So no one learned anything that, like, maybe you were too immature to make that decision.
Well, but,
No.
I mean, that's not
No.
uncommon. Like
No.
most.
That's what makes it in the 1940s, Ben. I'm assuming we're still in the 40s, but maybe we're in the 50s because it's a few years later, but no one told me where the war is. And Mark is still here. He hasn't been drafted, so I don't know, Ben. So then the book ends, they live happily ever after, and then there's an afterword by Austin.
No shit.
Where
do you think Austin
apparently-
McConnell's going to take a minute to talk about himself? Sorry, continue.
No, he's going to take a moment to say, like, maybe we shouldn't judge older generations.
What?
And like, tell your grandmom if you still can that you love her.
What?
And I'm like, was that the takeaway?
I don't
So-
judge older What?
So yeah. So first of all, I'm gonna, especially the baby boomers. And also,
I don't judge their like romantic choices. Do
no,
what you
not the
want.
romantic choices, but like just in general.
I judge
I'm
their
gonna judge 'em.
economic policies, but like
Their
I don't-
economic and political policies. Yes, I will judge the shit out of them for that. Thank you for ruining everything. You suck. But also, take a moment. Like, I get that I wouldn't exist if my grandparents hadn't have hooked up, but my grandmother would probably have been a lot better off if she hadn't hooked up with my grandfather. My grandfather famously asked her over the phone to marry him before
Is this the guy
he was
that
to
like
deploy?
burned your house down?
Yes. Yeah.
The one you always make fun of on this podcast?
Yes, that guy.
Oh,
My
boy.
dad's dad asked my dad's mom to marry him over the phone prior to his deployment, I believe for World War II, but it might have also been Korea because he was in both. Pretty sure.
I think we won that one. Kinda. That was also kind of a tie, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, she laughed at him, and I'm like, okay, that's done deal. We're done here. But then she did eventually marry him, and she was depressed for most of her life, and maybe she shouldn't have. Maybe she also didn't know how everything was back when she was that age. Like Neva didn't know what the fuck she was doing.
Well, look.
Honestly, I think the book should have just ended with the ambiguity.
Here's the thing. With a coming of age tale set,
And it was weird to have an afterword about like your grandparents and like maybe we shouldn't judge them for.
okay.
You can't judge. He had it was a quote from George W. Bush about how we tend to judge groups of people by their worst characteristics, and like,
Yeah,
maybe
George, you did. What?
There were a lot of people around you, George, who talked about how New Orleans was because God hated gay people.
I like to imagine George W. Bush sitting there reflecting on his life today, and he's like, I think we can all agree that like it's probably a mistake to assume a group of people is just always looking for weapons of mass destruction just because, I think we all make that mistake at one time or another. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so no, my thing is, like, if we're trying to approach this story as if it were a real book, which it's not, to tell a coming of age story in the 1940s, I don't know myself what it was like in any way, shape, or form to be a teenage girl in the 1940s. I also don't know what it would be like to be a teenage boy in the 1940s because, as we said, you're dealing with a war. And even if you're not dealing with a war, the country just came out of a Great Depression. Most people, even today, don't go on to college. And
yeah, high school graduation was a big deal.
Yeah, most people back then are just going to go right out of school and right into the workforce. And most of them are assuming they're going to go right into the workforce in their hometown. There's still a lot of manufacturing going on. There's still a lot of like blue collar jobs that can, one income from one of those jobs can get you a car and a house and take care of a family. And that's what they plan to do. And so there's not the hesitancy to start a family that there is today.
Yeah, that's why we got the fucking boomers.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. Like, so today, an 18-year-old coming out of college or an 18-year-old coming out of high school has no realistic way of supporting a family. So that decision just must be delayed. But in the 40s, not only could they, that was the expectation. So coming of age back then.
Why do they call it dual income, no kids, and they call them dinks?
I've never heard this.
I've just started hearing it. I think it's just to be deliberately insulting.
You can't hurt me, guys, with that criticism. Like, I'm not seeking your approval. I just can't even imagine the whole like we should be pressuring people to have kids. It's like, okay, what are you going to do, man?
We're going to economically pressure you by giving you money.
They're like, well, that's the thing though. They don't. Like,
yeah, they sure don't.
I'm economically incentivized in every way to not have kids.
Yeah.
So continue making childcare as expensive as it possibly can. Continue making education as terrible as it possibly can be. And continue making it so both parents need to work in order to have to have any kind of stable income. And I will continue not having kids. And you can make fun of me the whole time while you have your 16 kids and go broke. Love you.
It's time for people to start living their means. Elon Musk.
I do. I don't have kids.
And then everyone cheered. It's like, he's talking about you, right?
Yeah.
You're the guy who wants to start living in their means, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, he's got private island means.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't have to care if this entire world collapses around him.
So, but that's my thing. Like, if you're going to choose a coming of age story in a particular time, I'd imagine you would highlight the challenges of coming of age in that time, not just they don't have cell phones. So there's that. But second, I got to go back to, tell me, you read the book. I didn't read the book. Do you get the impression that this is somebody who was passionate about a book?
I get the impression You want me to just rubric it? Because I can address that question.
Yeah, let's rubric it.
Content and ideas, Ben. Oh yeah, this is on blog.wordsaboutbooks.ninja for all the people.
Keep in mind,
are,
if you rate this on Goodreads, you're going to be like 10% of the weight of this guy's rating.
So let's see.
We would normally never consider doing a book with this few reviews.
But he's got so many YouTube followers that he's big enough to be something.
Let the record show I didn't want to make fun of this guy.
Hey, I'm not making fun of him. I'm making fun of a book that he also made fun of. So it's not hypocrisy. In fact, if he hates on us, it is hypocrisy, and he should pay us his ad revenue. That's how that works.
I also don't like his YouTube channel. Like I don't think it's just I don't think it's just the book that's the problem here.
I skip around. A 3 maybe? Clear ideas and plot points are present, but maybe underdeveloped or unoriginal. Boy, is it underdeveloped.
Okay, walk me through what are the ideas behind this?
God, that's okay. I'm leaning towards a 2 when you make me try to explain.
Yeah, it's a powerful question, isn't it? Name an idea in this book.
So it's supposed to be about a girl coming of age in the 1940s.
Yeah,
it does not develop the 1940s. We already established that.
I was going to say,
coming of age. So you've got the love triangle, but it's not, because one of those ends of the triangle is not in love with her at all, and not.
Let me read the description of the book on Goodreads to just try to make my point here. During the last year of her life, my grandmother started writing a story about a young girl named Neva. This book is my way of finishing it. It's a coming-of-age story about family, high school sweethearts, and growing up in the year 1940. In the year 1940.
Okay, all right, 2. I'm sorry. I tried to...
And I would like to point out that he doesn't even know what the ideas behind the book are. All he can talk about is him and why he's doing it.
Yeah, it's not really about family, because her dad is like this. He's somewhat reasonable, but also doesn't stick around much. Like he's busy working because he's a working man. And then her mom, we only ever see her as an unhinged crazy person because of the sister showing back up in their life and her being stressed out about it, and Neva maybe getting kissed on the lips, and like she's I don't know if she's normally an unhinged crazy person or not, but
who is Clara Smith?
I don't know, because I saw her name was also on the book. No, it's not the narrator. It's
not the narrator.
I don't know. She's got a writing credit on this book, and she's got a lot of books apparently. Potty Training in 3 Days, the complete potty train guide to hassle-free results in 3 days. Potty training in 3 days. Potty training in a weekend. Okay. And that has 2 ratings. 2.5 stars. Spice It Up, a sex book for couples. The complete keto crockpot cookbook, super tasty low-carb recipes to keep your weight clean, lose weight fast, reset metabolism, get lean in a few steps with amazing recipes. Who is this person, Ben? He got people to demo read or whatever it's called. Like, beta read.
I'm not a book person? Is that what you're going to say?
I'm not a book person, all right?
Jesus Christ, man.
Oh, I'll cut that part and make myself sound smart. He got people to beta read for him. He got people to edit for him. He spent thousands of dollars on all these things, Ben.
Yeah, was one of them a ghostwriter?
If it was, why would he pick this ghostwriter?
Cheap.
But what the fuck? Like, look at her back catalog. Does not fucking make any sense.
I think
Section Garde du Corps, French edition.
I need to know who Clara Smith is. Did you watch his videos about this book?
Yeah, he doesn't bring up Clara Smith, I don't think.
It's weird, though, how she's on the
Yeah.
She's not on the cover. It just says by Austin McConnell.
Yeah. Yeah, this is strange, Ben. So yeah, clear idea. God, can I say clear ideas and plot points are presented but never developed? Are there clear ideas and plot points, Ben?
I would say, based on what you've told me, there are clear ideas and plot points in the sense that,
So I can at least give him a 2.
yeah, in the outline, he probably came up with Mark and Fonzie and the sister being estranged and the two relationships sort of like demonstrating. Now, I don't know. If I were some kind of writer, I would probably put some effort into showing two different kinds of relationships in 1940. One with the older sister who, went against family's wishes and married somebody and it didn't work out, and you have to deal with the stigma of like a divorcee or trying to save the relationship or blah blah blah. And then I might try to deal with an idealistic younger person who still believes in love and doesn't understand all the complications and all that stuff. I would probably do something with that.
Well, that's not what happened. So take that.
No, that would be that. I would imagine that would be incredibly challenging to write. I'd have to do a bunch of research. I'd have to interview a bunch of people because I am not a teenage girl, nor was I born even close to the 1940s.
Well, now we're going to go to organization. I think I can give him a 3. There is an organizational structure present. The author makes himself understood, but the pacing's a little too slow or too fast, which is accurate. We sure do very little in the time that we have, and then we wrap it all up with a bow. Use of language, Ben.
They're going steady, Nate.
I guess it's a 3. It's appropriate for the intended audience? Question mark.
Is it appropriate for 34-year-old men?
Well, this is aimed at 12-year-old girls.
You think a 12-year-old girl read this? Even
no,
one?
That's why his book did not sell for shit. Because his demographics were all wrong.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. Personal preference, Ben. Can I say a 2? Can I say its appeal to others is just me explaining it to you to annoy you?
Do you understand its appeal to others?
No. I do not actually understand the appeal to others. I don't get it. So I guess I'd have to go with a 1.
I'm tanking your rating with a few simple questions here.
I'm trying to be nice, and then I'm like, no, I guess I have. I'll go 1.5 because I didn't say I hated it. I'd say I disliked it, but I can't understand its appeal to others.
So I will say, it sounds like it's not offensive.
No, it's not offensive.
It sounds like it's. It sounds like it's fine, but the vibe I get, and again, this is the problem I have. If you watch this guy's videos, it's he's like walking. Maybe I'm using this term incorrectly, but he's like walking Dunning-Kruger to me. Like he just has no idea what he doesn't know, and he thinks that if I spend a couple months knocking out a novella,
physical copy of this, a physical print run.
That's insane.
That's
like
insane. This is something you put on Amazon Kindle.
This is my thing. If you do 5 minutes of research about self-publishing, you will understand immediately the challenges you're facing in terms of getting people to read a book. And if you have an audience of millions, I think he's right. Presumably, even if 80% of his audience are 34-year-old men, presumably there are people in that audience, I would imagine more than 200, who would be willing to give a story like this a chance. But it sucks. The story sucks. And you can't blame that on the demographics of your YouTube channel. You can't Nobody wants to read a novel that you wrote as a project to find out about writing novels. And I shouldn't say that, because that's actually not true now that I think about it, because I do actually listen to podcasts about people writing novels on the spot and constructing narratives and going to writers workshops and stuff. The thing that gets me is that he thinks this is some kind of like revolutionary concept he's doing.
Are you trying to tell me you didn't like the episode where he tried to juggle for the world record of juggling, but he couldn't do it?
Obviously you can't do it. I mean, I guess that's the thing. Like, when you tell me that's your plan, obviously you know you're not going to be able to do it, or you're an idiot. I mean, if you don't know that you can't break a world juggling record in a couple of months, hell, even a couple of years, then you're an idiot. You have no idea what you're doing, and you don't care to learn. And I think it's the same thing with like every one of his weird little projects. Like this novel, he's not a writer. He's not interested in learning how to write.
He had a writing workshop that no one showed up to, and he filmed it.
You see what I'm talking about? Like, you see what I'm talking about? Like, that's why I don't like his videos, is because it's like anyone who has put effort into doing anything with this as like a serious attempt to better themselves, this is just insulting almost.
All right, Ben. Recommendation strength. So, I'm gonna say like another 1.5. Here's why. Because I can't not recommend to anyone, but the niche audience is Austin McConnell. I feel like this book was written for Austin McConnell.
How many times do you think he read this book?
He said that he had like 6 drafts of this book.
How many times? That's not what I asked. How many times do you think he read this book?
Probably several times, Ben. Like how we read Edenverse over and over.
I was going to say, I've read my shitty book probably, I would say, like 20 to 50 times.
Yeah.
And the reason I say like that wide range is because I didn't read it like cover to cover, 50 times, but I have probably read every page of it 50 times by the time it was all said and done.
I recommend it to the audience of Austin McConnell and his... That's it.
I don't think he'd enjoy it.
You don't think he would enjoy it?
I don't think he likes this book.
I think it was written for him specifically. You don't think so? You'd say no one should read this book.
I would say literally no. I don't think he likes this book. Do you think he likes this book?
Like is a strong word. Like at the end of the book where Mark turns to her and is like, I like you, and then they're like, oh, sorry, Arnold.
Do you think Austin McConnell is proud of this book?
In the sense that he published a book, yes. I think he's like, I got another one. He's proud in the way that I'm proud of Edenverse, which is where I mock it relentlessly, but I'm like, yeah, check it off that list where I wrote a book. It was bad, and
so
I don't
like,
have a career in it.
Here's the difference. I can look back at that and be like, wow, we didn't know what we were doing, but we had a lot of fun doing it. Did he have fun doing this? Or did he view it as a tedious thing he had to knock out for one of his stupid videos? And did Clara Smith help?
Yeah, I want to know about that. That's actually the thing that most interests me. Who the fuck is that? Why is she on your, why is she an author there? Hey, he's a writer, filmmaker, and creator of web videos, including the award-winning Voicemails from Strangers, Really Weird History, Today's Spaceship Day, and Sprouting Orchids. Sprouting Orchids? Was that the film that he hated and like failed, or was that the one that he liked and didn't fail?
You know how you know somebody is a writer, creator, and filmmaker?
They'll tell you.
Yep. and a general oddball assortment of viral videos that have entertained millions on YouTube. That's true, I guess. I don't get it, but it's true, I guess.
So final score, Ben, looks like 32.
So it's that two out of 5.
I'd probably go a little lower. Actually.
If I were you, I wouldn't rate it on Goodreads.
You don't think so?
He has 12 reviews. You would be, I looked just now, you would be the only 1-star review.
Okay.
You would actually be the only review less than 3 stars that bothered to write anything. So that's the thing. Like, that's why we don't typically do books like this.
Happy Thanksgiving or Black Friday, everyone.
Mm-hmm. I think this is Black Friday one. That's where this belongs. Do you want to do the Patreon shout-outs?
Thank you to all of our patrons for making Nate's Nightmare November a reality.
Let us know if you want to do it next year.
I don't want to do it next year. Yeah, it's time to get back to Nate's normal November.
It's normal where we evaluate plant identification pocket guides.
There you go. So shout out to Spooky Shy with a Y, for making Ben buy breakfast sandwiches and delaying this recording. Thank you very much. Anyway, then we've got Jamie the Gravy Man. He reviews everything, and you know what? Lifting the ban on book reviewing.
Don't.
He can read this book.
I really don't want this to be a thing. I don't want the attention of him or his followers. I didn't want to do this.
All right. So, should we are we going to name this episode without his name in it at all?
I don't give a shit.
Talking about a novella Ben will hate. We just call it that. And
no, do what you're gonna do.
Okay.
I'll make you a deal. If we get any YouTube comments on this, if we get any Spotify comments on this, by the way, we have a bunch of those I haven't read yet. You get to look at them.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it is.
That sounds terrible.
It is. I don't know what to tell you. So you name it whatever you want, knowing I'm forwarding you all of those for you to respond to.
All right. Who else we got? We got Isekai Sensei Sama. From that time I got reincarnated in the same world as Anime Podcast. Is Neva's story in Isekai. And John Beers. I'll just call this the Black Friday special, Ben. And
oh, how quickly we back down! How quickly we back down!
I don't want to deal with all those comments.
No, of course you don't.
That sounds like a pain in the ass. All right, Ben. What else we got?
That's all the patrons that give us yacht money. So, oh boy. Yeah, so that's Nate's Nightmare in November. So what's up next? Do we go straight into Fourth Wing?
Yeah, we do Fourth Wing, and then the Maltese Falcon, and then the end of the year episodes.
All right, it's getting close.
Yeah. I need to put up a poll for this month because I never put one up because there was a real poll in real life.
I don't think anybody was looking for more opportunities to vote.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll do that. Fourth Wing, that'll be a fun one. How far are you in that?
About halfway through.
About halfway through? Okay.
I think, yeah.
You haven't really gotten to the tongue yet.
No. No, I have not. Okay.
You will.
Good. There is an alternative,
We're both happy.
Ben. There is an alternative, Ben.
To the fourth... No, I want Fourth Wing.
No, not the Fourth Wing. There is an alternative to it. We still have a bonus fourth quarter. We just make this the bonus fourth quarter. Ben.
No, you've made your choices.
Okay.
You've made your choices, Nate.
Then we have to read Adrian Tarn.
I'll read Adrian Tarn.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man.
This is that dynamic they love so much. All right, I'm ending the recording.